Hi ladies. Okay, I was putting together these starters for you and I thought it might be a little time before we can get together and do a little demonstration, or maybe not, but I thought I would give you this in the beginning just to get started. Okay, so these are the two starters that I maintain. They are those like pint-sized jar, wide mouth jars, and I just put these regular plastic lids on them because the metal ones seem to rust really easily. So that's what it looks like. This is the one, I just made some bread this morning. So I filled, you know how I told you I dumped this entire thing into a bowl. Actually, let me get my bowl. Get all the things together. Hopefully you're not seeing any of my dirty kitchen. Okay, so this bowl is empty, but I told you guys I don't wash it. I leave all of that there. She actually says that that's good beneficial bacteria that remain in the dried starter. So I just leave my bowl. I actually leave it right up here. This is my proofing basket. I leave it right up here on top of my toaster oven, and because we use it so often. So pretend this bowl is empty. I take this entire jar and dump it into there, and then what's left, you can see that there's like a lot of, it's pretty thick, like kind of like pancake batter. And when I dump it out, there's a lot left in the jar. So then I fill the jar, whatever remaining space there is, I do half flour, and I just keep a thing of flour here on my counter. And then I fill the rest up with water, and then I just stir it together really well, put the top back on, and put this into the fridge. And then that's where I keep it until the next time I need to use it, and you can use it 24 hours after you have fed your starter. Okay, so then once I dump it into here, I just add a little bit of filtered water from my tap. We have a filter on our regular tap water. So I just put a little bit of water in, a little bit of flour, and then this has been sitting since this morning. So see how it's like bubbly? This actually happens within like 15-20 minutes. You can make a dough ball if you want to, but I didn't have time this morning before school, so I'm going to do it pretty soon now. So what I'm going to do now is take my flour. This is unbleached organic white flour. And sometimes if I go to San Luis at Whole Foods or the Co-op, they have it's like a baker's, so it's more finely ground bread flour or baking flour or something like that. So I will just take this and pretty much, I mean, I can kind of do it right now. I don't measure. I mean, I am using a measuring cup, but I don't measure. I usually do start with about, this is a third of a cup. So I usually start with about a cup of flour, stick it in there. And then I'll mix it all together. Sorry, this is probably a really shaky video, but I mix it together and I just keep adding flour until I get what I call like a sticky dough ball. So it is kind of sticking to my fingers a little bit, but I'll add more flour and I'll keep moving it around. So I'll get this obviously much more stuck together before I start handling it, or my hands will be a mess. So I basically just keep moving this around, add more flour, and then you guys have made bread. So then I just knead it to get it really, really well combined. And then I put it into a like baking crock, like a square loaf baking crock. The other thing I do is sprinkle I like these Nigella seeds and this, it's kind of like a rock salt. I sprinkle that in here, and then I'll just take my dough ball and plop it in there and cover, either container that I put it in, I cover it in saran wrap because it cannot get any air or it won't rise. So I cover it in saran wrap, and I can either set it on the counter, like if I want to bake it tonight, I'd set it on the counter. Usually it does better if it waits overnight, if it sits overnight. So you can put it in the fridge or you can put it on the counter. Sometimes on the counter it over rises, it gets like really poofy and it'll stick to the saran wrap. So I will then put it in the fridge, and even though it doesn't look like it rose in the fridge, it has set up, it'll do its rising in the oven. And then I usually bake it like 425 for 35 minutes, uncovered. Then I usually stick a bowl of water in there, cover it, and bake it for another 20 minutes at 425. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is give you guys, I'm just gonna put the starter that I have. This one I don't wanna give you quite yet because I just did it this morning and I don't know if it's gonna be ready. This is my other starter, and I wanted to show you this one because see how it's separated like this? That's fine. So you can do one of two things. You can dump off this water. This is called hooch. So you can dump this liquid off the top, or you can just mix it back in. Either one is fine. I usually mix it back in. So I will just stir this up. I'm gonna put a little bit in each of these jars, and then when you get this, you can just stick it in the fridge until you're ready to use it. But what I would do is get a jar like this, dump the contents of this into the jar, add half flour, half water, and put the top on and stir it, and then wait like a day or two, and then try to make your first loaf of bread. But if you guys want to get together and we can kind of go through it in person, I just had all this stuff out since I was making bread, and I thought I would talk you through it. I don't even know if this 5-minute and 30-second video is going to be able to send, but I will try.